Hi, and welcome to the 7th section of this course, Azure Storage Demo. In this section, we will take a look at everything that we have learned in the previous sections. We will take a look at some of the best practices and the tips, and we will also try to build some projects and see how we can manage all of this on Azure as well. Managing database storage in Azure Storage. In this video, we are going to cover the NoSQL collections. We are going to see what Azure Storage SDK provides us with. We are also going to create an entity in the .NET project, and then we're going to take a look at how to store the entities in the table and how to extract the information about them. Heading back to Visual Studio, our tables controller is the file where I'm going to show you how to create entities and how to consume the entities in the ASP.NET application. The controller contains a field of connection string that allows me to connect to the storage account hosted on the Azure. Once I connect, I try to access the table client and then I move onward to create a table reference. If you remember from the previous section, we tried to create a blob client, then we tried to capture a container reference. Similarly, we are trying to create a table client, then capture the table reference, check if it exists or not, and then we go ahead and query the result for the table. The data model over here is the person class that you can find in the code repository provided with this course and review what fields are available. I will show you the fields in the Azure Storage Explorer in a minute. Once this query runs, we go ahead and see the table printed on the home page. For the sake of demonstration, I also created an action save where I captured the content from the form that was just submitted. I create the person object, I connect to the storage account, I capture the reference to the table, and then I execute an operation that will insert this object in the database. And lastly, it will redirect me back to the index action, where I will once again try to fetch the records and display them to the users. The front-end page for this controller and the overall operation is something like this. It contains a form where I can enter the information such as the name, message, or select the gender for the person. And then I finally submit the store. And at the bottom of this page, there is a condition to check whether there are any entities existing on the table or not. If there are some entities that exist in the database, I print them. If there are none, I show a message stating that the database is empty. And similarly, the table programming is basically this simple HTML mixed with some of the bootstrap content to make it pretty neat for the presentation of this course. Pretty much simple. And as we go ahead, you can see on the main page under the tables controller, there is a form and a table at the bottom of it. There is some content in the table itself. Let's go ahead and enter some content, entry name, entry message, and the gender. Let's now store the entity in the database and see what gets returned. As you can see, the table now shows 3 records instead of 2, and the entry that we had stored is also visible inside the table. If we head back to the Azure Storage Explorer and open up our table, you will see that the entity will also be available inside that table. And the fields, the columns that are available over here, such as the name, message, and gender, are the fields that are coming from the person object that we just created in the ASP.NET Core Applications models namespace. So that is how we can utilize the Azure Storage Table SDK in our real-world applications to mimic a NoSQL database for ad hoc table storage requirements.